numbers, because we love you.
Yes.
A lot of people love you and all of that. But how did you take the part where your channel almost, it's as if it hit a ceiling or it went stagnant?
I think I have been very fortunate in the fact that we were actually talking about this a little bit earlier. Numbers are amazing. Numbers are great. That dopamine hit is crazy. It's so good. Do you know what's better than numbers? Money, my sister. Getting paid is the thing that mattered to me the most. Being able to be there for myself, for my siblings, for my mother. That was the thing that has always been the most important for me. This is not to say that I don't care about views or they don't matter to me, but I've always in the back of my head, I even have a picture that stays on my Safari on my phone that I look at. And it's this website that shows you what 100 people look like, what 500 people look like, what 10,000 people look like. And anytime I ever feel myself going, damn, it would be nicer to get like a few thousand more. I go on that website, I look, it shows me what just 500 people look like in a room, and I go, that's crazy. That's how many people sat down and went on their phones to sit and give me 10 or 20 minutes of their time. And ever since I started doing that, it has not mattered to me whether I got 5,000, 10,000 or 50,000 views. Whatever the views are that do happen, I appreciate those as much as possible. But you know, I still have the people, like you're saying, people who care about me. You know, I'm not going to say it like everybody saying this maliciously, but yes, Sibu should have been further. Sibu should have had a plaque by now, 100,000 subscribers or whatever it is. And while I definitely do appreciate it, I wish people knew how content I was with what I have. I am very content with what I have because a lot of people don't, hey? Like, I know there's people who have 1 million subscribers, but there's people who have 100 and that's all they have. And they try for years and years and that is all they have. So I appreciate that. I've been in this game for, this year will be 10 years on YouTube. And like you're saying, the same people who watched me in 2015, 16, 17 are still watching me now. Somebody said, I used to watch you at varsity. Sibu, I have a husband and a child and a house. I'm still watching you right now with my babies, like sitting with me. So that for me, like, I always, my partner knows this every single day. The only thing that really, really keeps me happy and going is gratitude. And it's so impossible to not be like, to not just be thankful for what everybody has done for me over the past 10 years. So while I do like think about the fact that, it would be nice to have that plaque, it would be nice to have this, I am getting paid. I am able to have a roof over my head. I drove my car here today. That, my sister, is more than enough.
It's
for
enough.
Me. It's
You're
more
content
than enough for me,
and thankful. I really love that. But also, looking at you have 2 channels that have over 50,000.
It's like, I mean, it feels like 100,000, You
know, and also not so many people can do that because it shows some level of consistency. Because a person can hit your 100K, your 200K, but when they start a new channel, people are like, we're not following that new one. You know, but you have people that really like you and that have stayed consistently with you, and which is such a beautiful thing to experience. And we need the tea. How much is the most that you've been paid by YouTube?
How much is by you? Not a lot. Hey, I'm not a big YouTube person. I don't even know. I probably made, I don't want to lie, 10, 15,000 in a month, maybe. But me, I'm a sponsorship boy. That's where.
So that's where most of you. Okay, how much has been your biggest sponsor?
Oh, my biggest amount in one drop. I think I made. Let me think. The biggest amount I made from one campaign was probably 180.
180K?
Yeah, 150, 180. I can't remember exactly.
Okay. So do you get it like at once?
So that one was about 2 months. So it would have been, I mean, they're all different. Some brands give you 25, then 25, then 50. But I think that was like a 50-50 thing. Okay. So yeah, man, it's an on and off job. Like some months won't be as great as the others, but when things are good,
they're good.
Things are good.
Okay. But also I think now I also understand the contentness of it, as much as you still love YouTube and you still post content, you still share parts of you, but I also understand why you wouldn't be so held up on YouTube, because also you do have other streams of income. So for you now, YouTube is more of, it's an intimate setup. It's like it's family.
It's
like,
family,
you know,
it's
like, I'm
fun.
not just going to deliver in jail. I
Yes.
deliver because it comes from my heart. And if 1,000 of you are sitting here and we're having a good time, that's okay.
That's good with me. That's
Okay.
literally good with, like, YouTube for me is kind of getting together with my family once a week to update them about my life. Oh, guys, no, this is what happened. I was doing this. I went shopping. I did this. That's all it is. It's not a, and it's tough because that's what everybody else wants it to be. But it's not a, what can I do best to make sure my views triple next month? Or, which I don't think is a bad thing to think, but for me, YouTube right now is it's purely fun. Like, it's purely, I'm there to keep up to date with what's going on with other people, but also to keep people up to date with what's going on with me.
Okay, love that. So now, so many changes happen in your life, the involuntary ones.
Sure.
But also, I feel like you seem like a person that loves chasing change. We are afraid of change. We're like, I'd rather be here, I'd rather be comfortable, but you chase change. Like, for instance, you going into DJing, like, I couldn't have, if from the first time I watched you, if somebody said Sibu is gonna be a DJ, I was gonna be like, are you
At
mad?
30, he's gonna decide to be a DJ.
You know, I was gonna be like, nah, there's no, and not because you're incapable, but it's like, it's something that you don't see coming.
It's random, yeah.
You know,
I get
it's
you.
because, like, a person, we watch you evolve and all of that. We're thinking, okay, radio presenting, okay, we're gonna see him on TV.
Sure.
Okay, his YouTube is gonna grow, and then now you're just like, oh no, you don't know all my skills. I'm gonna be
Here's
a DJ.
what's next, yeah.
Tell me, how did you go into that transition?
So I've always wanted to be a DJ. Always. I downloaded Virtual DJ, I remember, in varsity. Instead of studying, once again, I was there on my laptop, mixing Swedish House Mafia. And I think there's a lot of people who want to be DJs. They'll just never, ever say it out loud.
So it's a secret desire.
It's like a secret for a lot of people. I know there are some of you watching or listening to this going, yeah, I mean, that is kind of me. I've always thought, what would it be like? And it wasn't even a thing of, I'm going to become a DJ so that this is what I can do for the next 20 years of my life. If I stop DJing in 2 years, I did it. I wanted to know how it would feel for me to do this thing. And so I started doing it. But it's been a thought for a long time. And then I met my partner and I was like, yeah, you know, I've always wanted to be a DJ. So it's like, oh, it's just a lot of pre. Where's the DJing?
Ooh, I love your partner. Where's the DJ?
That's a number one thing. There's a lot of talking here. You're always talking my ears off about things you want to do. Show me you actually doing them. And so, yeah, I bought a little thing to DJ on, a deck. And I started, and I taught myself, and it was horrible. The things she had to listen to in my apartment in that first little while, I don't know how she's still here today, but yeah, it was just, it kind of like YouTube, something I wanted to do and something I decided to do, because I did not want to be 40, 50 and think, yo, guys, imagine my kid one day becomes a DJ and I'm like, Yazi, this is something I'd always wanted to. Nah, guys, you must say I did it, and then I did it. And it didn't work out.
Or it worked out, because it might just work out.
Exactly. So my thought process has always been that guys, regret. Maybe people are different from me, but when I regret something, it eats at me. It eats at me. So I really want to live my life, especially now as I'm about to start my 30s, with as little regret as possible. I'd rather do it and you guys see me fail. That's fine. That's life. They never have done it before, because now I can say that I've performed in front of crowds and DJ'd. And that for me feels phenomenal, dude. It feels... Even now, like, I'm beaming just thinking about the fact that I did something I wanted to do. Yeah.
I really love that. And I think it takes so mumuch audacity and courage, because also when you think about learning a new thing is uncomfortable.
Very.
Like you're saying, you wonder how your partner stayed through.
Yeah.
Because it's like when you now get it, or you get better at it, you're like, what was I doing?
What was I doing? Exactly.
You know, it's like when we watch our first YouTube videos, you're like, what? So people actually watched that and they listened. So I really commend you for that courage to learn a new thing, right? But also self-teaching yourself, right? Okay, you can learn, and then people around you will tell you you're great, right? Given that obviously sometimes they tell us we're great even if we're not, just to support us, not to hurt us, right? So then now, when do you decide to now go into the world and be like, now you're going to pay me for this? Where did the confidence come from to say, now we can put this on my on my
Like
on my services?
CV, yeah.
Yes.
My YouTube community, man. I live and breathe through those people. Like they that's where the confidence came from. The confidence came from my friends, obviously, from my partner, but also my community saying, Sibu, you are actually good at this, or there is something there. A lot of people told me there's lots to work on, which I was happy to hear, but they were like, there's lots to work on, but clearly there's something, you know? But also to say that my first ever tattoo, I have whole tattoos. My first ever tattoo is music notes on my wrist that I got on my 18th birthday. That is because I had always loved music. I was always a musician in high school. And so I got this tattoo because I knew that I was going to go to varsity and I knew there was no music anymore. You know, I wouldn't be playing the drums. I wouldn't be performing with orchestras anymore. And so I got this tattoo to remind myself to go back to the music one day, no matter when it is, but the tattoo's always going to remind me. If I don't do it, I'm going to look at it and go, I had told myself. So it's like a little reminder. And finally, so I would have gotten this. My birthday's on the 13th of December. So I would have turned 8. My mom told me you can only get a tattoo once you're 18. The day after my 18th birthday.
You were like, that's where I'm going.
I went to the tattoo parlor. So on the 14th of December, 2012, I got this tattoo. And now finally, like, years later, I did it. But the point was, I always told myself, I'm going to go back. I didn't know it was going to be via DJing at all. That was never really that thought. But I'm glad I finally actually did it. Yeah.
Okay. No, that's good. So how was your first performance where you were paid?
My girlfriend tells you it was great, but it was... You know what it was? It was uncomfortable.
Sure.
It was incredibly uncomfortable.
Rightfully so.
Exactly. I think I stopped the music at a certain point. So when the last DJ plays, you're supposed to mix with their song, Moss. I think I switched off their song by mistake. Then I was like, you know what? It's fine. I played my song. I played it. My one USB didn't work, but I brought a fourth USB, so I had another one. Even then, when I started playing my songs, I mixed into the second song. The second song, I stopped it halfway by mistake. I pressed the wrong button. Had to keep going. And that's what I did for an hour. It was painful. It was so uncomfortable, but I just kept going. And I'm so proud of myself because it gave me so much of what I'm using now this year. So it was December last year, right? It gave me so much of what I'm using this year to keep myself going. Whenever I find myself in an uncomfortable situation, I think of growth all the time. I just go, this year, 2024, is the year of being uncomfortable. If you are able to stand on a stage and play music, your first time DJing in front of people, you can be uncomfortable in other situations. You'll be fine. If you're fine there, you'll be fine in other things. And so it was a nightmare. It was an absolute... Everybody else was like, oh, see, but that was nice. We enjoyed it. Keep going. Oh, wow, that was your first performance. Congrats. In my head, I'm thinking, yeah, I want to go home, guys. I told my girlfriend, because I was obviously first, because I'm new. And the whole party still had to happen. I was like, can we please go home? She's like, no, let's enjoy ourselves. Let's listen to other people. And after I got over myself a little bit, after like an hour or two, then I really started enjoying myself. But it really taught me that I'm not gonna die, man. I'll be fine. It's something that my mom taught me very, very early on. I remember even my first drum recital. She said, Mdanam, I can tell that you are very nervous, but at the end of this concert, we're going to have to go home and you're going to wake up tomorrow and it's going to be a new day. Whether you play well or not, it's going to end.
Sure.
The music that you're playing is going to end and you're going to have to move on with your life. So then you can decide whether you're going to take this as a lesson, as something to learn, or you're going to sulk and you're going to be sad and you're going to feel bad about yourself. And so I always think about that. Whenever I have something difficult to do that I don't want to do or that I'm scared of and I'm anxious of, it's going to pass. Time is going to move no matter how anxious you are.
Sure. Yeah. The good, the bad, it always passes.
It has to.
Yeah. Every moment in our lives passes. It's just that sometimes when something uncomfortable is happening, it feels longer.
It does feel longer, hey?
It
feels longer.
And you're like, it's still 2 a.m.
I heard something last week where someone said, and I've been repeating it so much, almost like it's my own. The days are long, but the years are so short,
yes.
dude. The days are long,
the years are short.
Yeah.
That's true. just looking at your career and looking at you moving around spaces and navigating spaces, I'm taken to something that I've been told by one of my mentors. God will always leave you signals. They are always there. You can run and run from purpose, but you'll always land back.
Yeah.
When you think about it, you've mentioned how you've always done music. It's always there.
Always
I feel like we're never sent to places that we are completely shocked about. You know,
100%.
it's almost as if we are always given a precedent of our life, but because we're so afraid, we want to follow social standards. We put away that, you know, they used to call it scope. I feel like we always have a scope of our life, but we won't use it because we want our lives to look like everybody
else's.
but
100%.
the scope that we've been given. Because when you think about it, I can sit here and be shocked. If you had told me everything you've told me before, I wouldn't be shocked that you're a DJ, because I'm like, oh, the notes have always been there, the dots. It's like, and I love how your life, all the good, the bad, has turned out, because it's like, it's almost as if you've been connecting the dots.
Yes.
And they like coming in together, you know, because when you think about it, you've always loved music, right? But music is art, and art is diverse, right? So maybe you thought, I'm going to be a rapper, because at some point we all thought
I
hip-hop.
did. Oh, Yvonne, what do you mean maybe? I was writing out lyrics thinking,
On bars,
exactly.
you know?
Yeah.
But God was like, beyond the next thing, maybe next year, producer, maybe this, that, you know, because it's such a broad spectrum. And I really love that you've been working with your maker in trying to reach your best self. You know, because you, in as much as there are fears and anxieties and all of these things, but you still step up and say, I'm good at this. Let me try it, you know? So it's really a good thing, and it's inspiring to see that with all the things that have happened in your life, you still look forward to trying something new.
Always. I will never stop that. And you know what? I think I have heard it to a certain extent, but I on top of that, I think the reason a lot of people like watching my YouTube channel, just watching my life in general, is because it's a realistic.
Sure.
It's a realistic. There are bad things. There are breakups. There are makeups. There are deaths in the family. There are jobs that you get. There are jobs that you lose. That's life. I'm never going to hide the bad stuff, because I don't think it makes it as good. There's not, guys, when people saw how bad the situation was with my car, that it kept stopping in the middle of the road. When I got the nice car,
we were all so
everybody was happy, because you understand.
God.
But
We were
imagine I
happy.
just showed up one day and I went, hey guys, this is my car. You guys
I've got
would
a
have been
Bentley. We're going to.
you guys
You are
would have been
lying.
exactly. You guys would have also been like, oh, that's nice. That's cool. You got a car.
Yes.
But no, when I said I got a car, everybody said, yes, finally, because you understood. That's why I always say, bring the bad stuff. It makes the good stuff sweeter. Yeah.
You know, I was listening to a video on Instagram. It was a reel. This lady said something along the lines of, sometimes you don't have to do too much or say too much, just be. And people will love you and gravitate towards you for that.
True.
And I think your life and seeing you grow and evolve has been that. Right. So, and then you had this horrible, nightmare of a first experience as a DJ. What then makes you go back? Because half the time people, when something goes wrong, we're like, bye, Felicia.
I will never do
I'm
that
not
again.
doing this.
I definitely had that feeling. Don't get me twisted. When we got home, I think I did tell my partner, yo, I don't know if I'll ever do that again. That was terrifying. Like, I was sweating. Luckily, I was wearing my prescription sunglasses, so no one could see the fear.
Yes.
But I don't know, man. I just told, I think, actually, no, I do know. Same way with YouTube. My first video didn't get a lot of views. It did. When you look at me now, you would think that something happened back then and it happened so well that I just kept on doing it. But it didn't happen like that. I told myself, luckily, I think I have YouTube as a thing to always pull reference from. So when I'm uncomfortable, I think, I was uncomfortable the first time I went to a YouTube event too. And I had to say, I'm also a YouTuber. Made me very uncomfortable. The first time I ever had to do an emceeing job in front of people, very uncomfortable. Now I'm getting called to MC in different places, getting paid amounts I'd never seen before. So when I had that feeling of being uncomfortable, when I finally got over myself a little bit, I thought to myself, that's the similar feeling I always had. When I was in grade 8 and I had to do my first 16 bars of a drum recital, I was uncomfortable. But years later, I was performing with the South African National Youth Orchestra. When I made my first YouTube video, I was uncomfortable. Now I have thousands of subscribers, a whole career and a job. So I thought back to myself and I said, okay, just because you are uncomfortable doesn't mean you were terrible. It doesn't mean you should never do it again. If anything, it just means you've learned something. Did you learn something? Yes, I learned to bring an extra USB. I learned not to press that button because it stops the music from the other DJ. So that's what I just told myself. Okay, you've learned. Now do it again. Let me tell you, my second performance, I did it again.
Wow.
I switched off the song again. And I was like, for real? But I was like, you know what? That time it was uncomfortable. This time it was not as uncomfortable. I just pressed play again. And then I told myself, this is how you learn. Everybody makes mistakes. It's not going to be perfect. I'll be fine. And honestly, in 10 years, nobody's going to go, do you remember Sibu's Soundset Sundays performance in 20? No, nobody's going to remember that. So that's what kept me going, is that feeling that it was a familiar feeling, that uncomfortable feeling. It was familiar. And I was like, you've done this before. It's not your first time. Stop